Hey artists, let's practice our tints and shades while making this crew member from Among Us. You're gonna need drawing chalk, a drawing pencil, and an eraser. Oh, and don't forget, you're gonna need a piece of black construction paper. All right, let's get started. Okay, we're gonna get started by drawing the crew member. So we're gonna use an oval for the little goggles. And I'm gonna just sketch lightly and then I'll darken it. So like that oval. All right, now we're gonna make the crew member's body. So I'm gonna start not quite in the center of the goggles. I'm gonna go a little from the center to the left. I'm gonna make a curved line that arches up and around, and then down to a straight line. I'm gonna kind of just stop here though, because I want to get the legs set up. So I'm gonna pretend that this line continues. I'm gonna skip, not draw through the goggles. I'm gonna draw straight down, and then I'm gonna curve when I want to start making the legs. So I'm gonna curve this line, I'm gonna bring it up, and then they have like a little curve here to start the next leg and line. So I have a little curve and then a straight line down. It's gonna curve and then come back up and connect to this line over here. Okay, and then we gotta do the backpack. So I'm gonna make a small curve in the middle of the body. I'm gonna bring this straight line down, and then I'm gonna make a curve as I connect it to the body. And if you feel like you want to add a little character or situation or whatever that thing is called that sits on the top of the crew member's head, go for it. Little party hat, little egg. Feel free to add that. Okay. Now that our crew member is drawn, we're going to use our drawing chalk as a substitute for our soft pastels. We're going to pull out the darker blue. I'm going to show you the larger one, and it's okay if it's a little broken. Try to keep all the pieces though together in the singular container of that color, please. So we're going to use this hue of blue. So this is a darker blue. We're going to use this lighter hue of blue later on. We're going to go ahead and start with this, and let's go ahead and create a little spot that shows us our hue of blue as it is, no changes, no modifications. So let's just go ahead and make a little circle over here. And remember, please do not blow that dust. It is very tempting. Make sure you've got your little scratch paper on the side. Fill it in really nice and boldly. And this is the hue of blue that we're working with. So I'm gonna set this aside. I've got my little scratch piece of paper, and I'm just gonna tap it onto that paper so it doesn't get on my paper, it doesn't mess up any of my drawing, and it's not in my neighbor's face, and it's not in my own nostrils, or your own nostrils, since you're following this and doing the video. Okay, so that's our hue of blue we're using. I'm gonna go ahead and let's label. This is our main hue. And then we're gonna make another circle above, and this is going to be our tint. So when we make our blue circle, we're gonna add a little bit of white, because adding white is what makes a tint of a color. Okay, I did not bring the piece of white chalk home, so I'm gonna dip into my soft pastels. So you'll be using your white chalk, and go ahead and add some white on top of that blue. Mix it with the pastel, mix it with your finger, tint of blue. All right, we're gonna go ahead and label that. Tint. And let's go ahead and make our shade of blue that we're gonna be working with. So make another circle, fill it in nice and evenly with your blue. Whoops, kind of made it larger, so we're just gonna go with it. And then get your black piece of chalk. There we go. And add a layer of black on top. Go ahead and blend it. Now it does appear to be a dark shade of blue. I am gonna add just a little bit more blue. And then another layer of black. There we go. And there is our shade of blue that we'll be working with. All right. All right, we are now all set to go ahead and start adding our tints of blue, the hue of blue, and the shade of blue to our crew member so that it looks like our crew member has a range of value and has more form. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's grab the blue. We're gonna use this to add to the bottom of the crew member, all the way up through the body, and all the way to the top of the head, and then we'll start making it into a tint up here and a shade down here. Remember to press pause as needed, and also feel free to rewind at any part that you might need to rewatch or re-listen to any of the tips during this tutorial. Once you've got a nice even layer of blue, you can use your finger or you can use a Q-tip to smooth out all of the layer you just applied, and then grab your white so that we can make a tint on the top of our crew member. The white I'm using is actually a soft pastel, so it's super powerful. The white that you're using is chalk, so it might not be as bold as mine, and that's okay. Go ahead and put the white all on the top of the crew member's head, and then use your finger or a Q-tip to blend in. Then continue to add blue all the way to the bottom of the crew member's feet, and once this area is filled in with our hue of blue, grab your black so we can create a shade of blue in the feet and a slight curve up to the middle of the backpack area. Once I've put down the first layer of the black chalk, I'm going to go back with the blue and add another layer of blue and then a little bit of black again to really blend in that black with the blue to make the shade of blue that I'm going for. We still want it to be blue, not just straight black or match the back of the construction paper. So you may need to adjust depending on how yours looks in comparison to mine. Just make sure that you are paying attention to which color you're grabbing and that you are blending in between the layer of colors that you've added. Something that can work well is using the chalk to actually blend for you. So you'll see here I'm going back in with a little bit of the black chalk and then right on top of that with the blue. And I didn't blend in between those layers, I just applied the blue directly on top, and that way it was blending naturally, and then my finger can finish up and smooth out anything that the chalk didn't get. For the backpack, we're going to use the main hue of blue, apply that color all inside the backpack, and then we're going to create just a shade towards the bottom of the backpack using our black chalk and blending it with the hue of blue. I'm going to go ahead and do a few touch-ups to the feet of this crew member just to make the outline nice and clean, and also I'm going to add a little bit more black to create a darker shade towards the very bottom of the feet as well. Check your crew member and do any touch-ups to any of the areas we've done before we move on to the goggles. Now we're ready to fill in this goggle area of our crew member. So this is where we're going to use this lighter hue of blue. Okay, so we're gonna quickly make a little test area to show us what our hue is with this color, what is our expectation when we use just this flat light blue, and then what's a tint look like, and what's a shade. So go ahead and make your test circles. Alright, and we're going to apply these to the goggles. However, we're also going to need just an area of white that shows the little shine on the crew member's goggle. So we're just going to leave that bold white right in the middle, make a little area for that, and then we're going to apply our tint of this lighter blue and then this hue of blue as we work our way to the outside edges of our crew member's goggle. Nicely done. Now, if you'd like, if you have any smudges or any lines that you want to clean up, You can go back and take care of those by using the color and re-outlining that area, or you could add a color behind your crew member and outline it so that your crew member really pops. And look at that! Tints and shades all practiced in this cute little crew member drawing. Alright artists, I'm going to challenge you with the blank space left on our paper. You are going to use your knowledge of pastels with tints and shades to create a picture to fill up the space on the rest of this practice work today. So pick a hue, demonstrate your knowledge of tints and shades. Use both tints and shades to create a drawing on the rest of this piece of construction paper.